Hi friends, today is March 5th, 2026, and I wanted to kind of like share some things that I find interesting, and especially about sound and color. So I came back from my trip to Denmark, which was truly amazing, and always reminded of how important sound and color light is for our, not only for our wellness, our health, but beyond that, to assist us in helping this breakthrough in the veil that we all have. So I want to kind of walk you through my day yesterday. So I was thinking a lot about the filters, and not speaking about them, but only thinking about the different filters from the Ceratelic set, and the different yellows and oranges, the different reds, the different greens. So I was having this whole conversation in my mind about them, and just like very curious as to how Dr. Pierre Mignon, I'm sorry, I'm going to kill the pronunciation, came up with all these colors and how they affected different parts of the body or the different systems. So I was just having those conversations in my head, and then next thing I know, a video comes up in my feed of what I posted in the group, which is the tetrachromats. And I thought, wow, I've never even heard of that. That's really interesting. I watched that a little bit. Then I'm walking you through my thoughts. And then I'm also thinking, wow, you know what? As I'm doing tax work, I'm thinking about LLCs and S corporations, and boom, another video comes up on that. And then I'm also, next thing I'm also, like, oh my God, the war with Iran and all these things. And I'm like, oh my God, this is awful. And all of my feed is about the war with Iran. And then I'm like, no, I'm not going to focus on that. I'm going to focus on beauty, on love. Next thing I know, it's music, Sufi music, or it's Native American music. And I'm like, okay. Then there was a couple more things. I was thinking, gosh, what's going on with my thyroid? And this is probably why I've gained a little bit of weight. And another video comes up on the thyroid. And I'm like, wow, this is really interesting. It's not coincidence. And I know that because there is technology out there that is targeting our brain. And my older sister would tell me about this 20 years ago, and I thought she was crazy. And, poor God help her soul, because she really had the vision to see a lot of things that were in the works for the rest of humanity. And at the time, I had somebody that said, in my life, she said, well, your sister lives 20 years ahead of time of what's coming to humanity. And, I was like, okay, none of this makes sense. And until I found the work of Sabrina Wallace. Now, I know this could be a little bit harsh, but unfortunately, there are technologies that are being employed that read our biofield, that read our thoughts. Whether you're near a phone or not, everything is being picked up by the cloud, and we're all being targeted with all these, neurobiology. We're being targeted basically in our brain. So it also makes me wonder, what are our thoughts and what are not our thoughts? So this is where I think sound and color comes in, and especially the type of sound and color that is the most simple. And I am talking to this group that is of many advanced practitioners. I'm not talking about the regular person out there. Like, for example, there's amazing sound and color systems that are helping people that are, that have addictions, and you know who that is. So that system, and there's a place for everything. But in my view, and in the way that I walk through life, I find that the simplest sound, like natural instruments, is really what helps us tap in and helps us see a little bit behind that veil, behind the curtain. And the same with the color light system. Like, for example, the system that Pascal is teaching And and I've been working on my ear with the colors, and also the colors with or the system of the Beamer, the pen light from that I just recently purchased. And so all these are tools that assist us in opening up that veil a little bit. And I want to share a couple of stories about what does that really mean to open up the veil. So remember, I've mentioned to you that I had a man from NASA come and visit me, and I got to spend a lot of time with him, and I got to ask him a lot of questions, but it was really more like an interview of my own experiences. And the first time that I shared an experience with him, and this was probably the first time that I understood what was happening. So I had a dream that the father of my kids was in this very dark place, and he was really, really, really afraid, and that there was something in this room that was scaring him, and it was really dark. So in my dream, I went in to go help him get out of this room that he was trapped in. And I got really scared, and I basically woke up because I was really, really scared. And then I went back to sleep, and I thought to myself, I can't leave him there. So I went back I went back to sleep, and I went back into the same dream. And I'm skipping something actually very important. And when I went into this room, I took out whatever it was that was scaring him. So whatever it was, something that he was afraid of. And then I remember hugging him at the end, and then waking up and knowing that he was going to be okay. Prior to this dream, no, it was after the dream. He called me up and he told me that they had found a little something in his lung, and that the doctor had said that he was afraid it could be lung cancer. And I told him, no, that's not lung cancer. Whatever shows up in your CT scan and your MRI, whatever it is, no, it's not there anymore. And I said, please let me know what happens. So a couple of days later, he goes to the doctor to figure out what are the next steps, because they found this mass in his lung. And he went to go get more testing or whatever. To make a long story short, by the time they did another PET scan, whatever it was gone. And they said, oh, it was a mistake. So I told this story to my friend from NASA, and he said to me, do you understand what really happened there? And I was like, no, what do you mean? He goes, you took it out. That dream is not a dream. You literally went out of your body and you took it out. And I was like, no, that's not possible. And so then I've always had these unusual dreams, which I call them dreams, but they're not really dreams. And then I'll tell you another one. I have many of them. So that was in 2015 when he came to visit me. In 2016, I got invited as to go be like a special, practitioner. I went to a spa in Turks and Caicos, a very unique spa, very expensive spa. Anyway, so I went there with my instruments, with my monochord and my color lights, and it was summertime, so it was really low in guests. So they said, I want you to start treating the staff so that you can, show them what it is that you do, and they can help you, they can help us market. Anyway, there was this young lady, and I don't know, she must have been in her early 20s. So she laid on the massage table, and I started to play the monochord. And then I started having a journey with her where I could see that she was going into nature. She was like flying over plants, and she was like totally free. And nature was responding to her. And when I finished the session, she got up and she started to cry, and she said, and she's from the island. She said, oh my God, my grandmother was right. And I said, what do you mean? She says, nature is alive. I was communicating with the plants, I was communicating with the flowers. And I said, yeah, I know, I saw that. She said, oh my God, she was right, she was right. So this is what sound and color does. It gives us an opportunity to look at behind the veil, to truly know yourself beyond this physical world, beyond this physical, whatever this is, right? Whatever in this planet that we're in. So, so my message for you today is just that we gotta keep on working with sound and light, because it's the one remedy that I think helps us to peel the layers, is the one remedy that helps us to tap in truly into the essence of who we are, because we have the capacity to travel outside of our bodies. We have the capacity to be in communication with others through telepathy. We have all these capacities, and this is what the AI and all these technologies are mimicking. They're actually mimicking our abilities, the innate abilities that we have. And when I have shared sometimes with people some of the experiences that I've had I'll give you another experience. A friend of mine was pregnant, and she was towards giving, the end of her pregnancy, and I woke up one morning and I was nauseous. I was totally dizzy, and I knew she had given birth because I was in the operating room with her. And not only was I there and I could see above where she was at, I knew the baby was in trouble, and I was there to assist, but I wasn't there alone. There were other lights that were there assisting the birth of this child. So when her mom called me and said she's given birth, and I knew, and she said, and I said, and how's the baby? And she said, the baby's fine. We had a little trouble, and of course I don't say these things because, in the Bible, Jesus said these things you'll do and more. But when you tell a person that is of this religion, they're like, no, that's not possible. So anyway, this is the beauty of sound and color. I cannot stress enough and urge you to work with the simplest systems that you can find with sound and color to help really shine your light and be in service. Now, these things that have happened to me, these experiences that I'm telling you about, is not something that I will. It is something that when I go to sleep at night and I say a prayer, I'm always in service of the divine. And anyway, technology is moving really quickly. And unfortunately, I don't call it, as some people think, this is human evolution, and I don't think so. I think it's the other way around. But it's here. And I think it's important for all of us to be aware that even with my thoughts, I was able to, they're reading the biofield, right? They're reading the subconscious thoughts. And pay attention. Think about something strongly and see what happens in your cell phone. See all the feeds that come up. And, this is where we're at. We're on this planet where these technologies are being deployed against humanity. And it's been in the works for, a couple hundred years, or 100 years at least. If anybody is interested in knowing a little bit more about Sabrina Wallace, she actually did some really cool videos explaining all this stuff. I'm thankful to her because honestly, it's helped me understand all the experiences that my sister was talking about, and and my older sister. So I leave you with the thought that we truly are beyond this, whatever, we can reach beyond this reality. We can truly help others. by tapping into our innate gifts and abilities. And I'm a strong believer, because every time I work with sound and color is what happens. And also the other thing is a connection to nature. Figure out which element you are, which element helps you to open up more. I know for me is water. If when I am very close to water, it's like putting me on, I don't know, on like a turbo, a rocket. When I'm literally in front of the water, and I spend a lot of time with water, and I'm able to see a little bit beyond the veil, and it just happens naturally. But most of all, keep the innocence in your heart, in loving devotion to the divine. And I just wanted to say hi and pay attention to your thoughts and see what happens on your feed. And I believe this is probably a worldwide thing. And anyway, that's it. Until next time, I'm grateful that you're in this group. And by the way, when I have out-of-body experiences, you know how hard it is to go and now do tax work? I gotta do it. All right. See you. Bye.